Hi, I'm Ryan Oman,
And I'm Nicole Oman.
and together we are the
Empowering Omens
with the Golden Collective.
Yes, and today is Thankful Thursday, and it's all centered around the center point of the heart chakra, where we begin to heal, open up, have self-compassion, and forgiveness. And this week's theme is celebration, but we knew with the cards we chose for the week that celebration would be a difficult one to get to.
Yeah, careful what you wish for, guys. I pulled the cards. Usually Nikki pulls the cards for the week. I actually pulled the cards this week, and now I feel like maybe I should let Nikki do it again because I feel like I pulled all the wrong cards. Everything was in reverse, and I'm feeling it today.
And I was feeling it yesterday. Honestly, there's this sense of this deep vulnerability coming out of both of us. And so these videos we decided to do because we wanted to learn how to communicate with each other. And with that, it's bringing up all of our vulnerability, and it's allowing us and making us and forcing us to communicate differently and listen to each other and take the lead and follow. And with that brings up old resistance, even in our relationship. And we wanted to always be vulnerable, and we always want to be authentic with our process. Sometimes we're in a good mood and we show up and we do the work, and sometimes we're in a vulnerable mood and we show up and do the work. And I think that a lot of times, on social media and Instagram and Facebook and all those things, we like to put on our happy face. But sometimes the beauty is when we are really in the dirt and feeling the growth.
Yep.
Feeling the growth.
Yeah, we got today specifically. We got the cards Trust in reverse and Creator in reverse. So we're just having to trust where we are right now. Like Nikki said yesterday, she was going through it. Now I'm going through it, and it's easy for us to just kind of wait until we feel better to put down a video for you. But I don't think that's being honest, and that's certainly not being. That's not honoring the moment. So we're trying to do that now, and we'll see how it goes. Right now it doesn't feel good, but it is what it is. So I guess what we're asking you to do is join us through this this kind of dark night of the soul, if you will, of going into this deeper place, this place of unknowing. I just recently listened to an audiobook from Jack Kornfield called After the Ecstasy, the Laundry. And it's a really powerful book. It's got a lot of really cool parables or allegories, and I tend to resonate with that kind of teaching because I feel like it's easier to understand something when you experience it through a story than it is to just be told it. And one that really resonated with me was this story of this princess that was given over by her family to a dragon. The dragon was, essentially terrifying the kingdom, and the princess was essentially a sacrifice to the dragon. And the princess consulted with an oracle or a sage or somebody that told her that she needed to wear all these dresses for their wedding night. She needed to just cover herself in a bunch of dresses. So she had let's say 7 layers of dresses. And she meets with the dragon in their wedding chamber after they were married, and the dragon wants to devour her, and as many bridegrooms do after they're married. And she says, okay, but every layer of clothing I take off, you have to take off a layer as well. But he's a dragon, he doesn't wear clothes, so she's like, you have to take off a layer of skin. And dragons are reptiles in some strange way, so he thinks to himself, that's not a big deal, I shed all the time, I'll take off a layer of skin. So she takes off one of her dresses, he takes it off of a layer of skin. Then she takes off another dress, he takes off another layer of skin. It starts getting uncomfortable because that, as he digs deeper, the skin is closer to the true self, and it gets much more painful. And eventually, after she's shed all of her layers, he shed all of his layers, and he's no longer a dragon, he's now a prince. And then they live happily ever after. Well, I don't know if
And
the
all
happily
the
ever
things.
after is part of it.
No, I don't
But
know.
I do know that they are more authentically themselves. And so today I am definitely experiencing my dragon, and I think I have peeled a layer of skin, and I'm feeling really raw. I feel like a little soft shell crab, and
We're still in Cancer energy.
yeah,
so.
it's tough. It's intense. So if you are going through this as well, I encourage you to just be very, very kind to yourself and put yourself in an environment where you feel safe while you get used to that new layer of skin.
Thank you for your authenticity and your vulnerability. I think that's what we're going through right now. Yesterday, I shed a layer of skin, and now you're doing it, and now I'm doing it again. You passed the buck. And, you know, at the same time, we're going through a lot in the country. We're going a lot in the world. The energetics are nuts. And there's nothing more we can do but start getting vulnerable. Because there's so much aggression and so much hatefulness and so much fighting and so much us against them. And if we really sink into the heart chakra and we get beyond all of the drama, what are we really feeling? We're all feeling really vulnerable, scared, abandoned. We all feel there's this core abandonment issue coming up and rejection. We're wanting to quit. We're wanting to give up. We're wanting to just F it and check out and
numb out, distract,
and escape. I even had a comment yesterday that told me and Ryan we should quit what we're doing because what we're doing isn't really helping. And I hit that, and it hit me in my heart, and I was like, what is that really saying? And it's that was just a reflection of an inner perfectionist that is in that resistance and that fear and that judgment and that criticism and that we both have a hyper perfectionist. And it's one of those things of, do we quit? Or do we shed another layer of skin and just become more vulnerable and more ourselves and hope and invite you to do the same? Because we're not here to tell you what to do. We're here to do it with you and be in the trenches because it's the only way. And if our leaders right now could do the same thing, we would have a very different world and a very different country. But everybody's so scared to do that.
Nobody wants to be vulnerable, and I don't blame them. It's not easy. I definitely went through my dragon process leading up to this state of vulnerability that I'm at right now. So if you feel yourself getting angry, that's probably a good sign that you're on the right track. Now we're
angry or helpless or about to quit. Yeah. And just know when you're at the edge of wanting to quit, that's where the growth happens. I was looking at my daughter planting some seeds in this pot, and the funny thing is they just keep popping up. We don't even know what seed she planted.
Kind of true.
And I thought about it.
She remembers. I
put it out. And so I was thinking that when that woman said, and we're in the middle of our creation process and learning how to communicate with each other and work together and all the things. And if it's not helping you guys, it's definitely helping us. So if nothing else, there you go. But I thought, I was like, what a stifling thing to say around the creation process. It's like if I went out because Kali has 3 little sprouts and I ripped them out of her thing and said, you know what, they weren't going to do anything anyway. How devastating would that be for her? It's one of those things is, can we allow ourselves to grow and not be perfectly blooming plant?
Another way to look at it though is, the internet is just rampant with negative commentary. And it's because, well, A, there's anonymity. You don't have to deal with anybody calling you out because you can just create a profile and then pretend you're somebody else. But B, I think there's a lot of people being triggered. And so if people are throwing out negative comments there, that's because they're up against it too. And they're going through their own process. They're going through their own triggers. They're going through their own dark night of the soul, and their dragon is coming out. And if that's happening for you, then congratulations, you're on the path. Yay! Isn't it fun?
And one thing that I noticed too is a lot of people who have the most criticism are the ones that aren't creating. They'll put out other people's products or they'll put out other things, but they're shadow artists because they're so afraid to put themselves out there and be extremely vulnerable. And when I watched the Brene Brown's vulnerability on Netflix, her thing, she talked about living in the arena. And when you're living in the arena, you're going to fail and it's going to hurt and it's brutal. But she doesn't take anybody's opinions seriously who's not living in the arena, not living with their heart.
For those dudes out there, it's like playing football. You got your quarterbacks who play football, and you've got your armchair quarterbacks who sit there on Sundays and comment on how the quarterbacks did a good job or a bad job. It's essentially the same idea. It's like it's really easy to give suggestions and criticisms when you're not actually in the trenches.
It's very different living it. And it's really different when you're putting yourself out there and being vulnerable every single day.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you guys for really being supportive of us. And I also want to encourage you to live in the arena and put yourself out there and be vulnerable, because we're not going to change the state of the world, the country, the everything, if we're not willing to put ourselves out there and be vulnerable, and be open to criticism and be open to attack and all the things, an attack of our ego. And I think with this heart chakra, to really trust our own inner creator, we have to put ourselves out there. We have to celebrate ourselves. We have to celebrate the criticism and the perfectionist who wants to, and we have to also celebrate the dragon. And that moment, I think that part of it is also a moment of growth. I think when we're up against it, that's when you're either pulling the sprout out of the pot or you nurture it again, and that's your choice.
Yeah, and dealing with the sprout analogy, it's like it starts out as a seed, and the seed has a tough outer shell that has to break through before it can even start its growth process. And after you broke through the shell, that's just the beginning of it. Now you have to dig roots. You haven't even turned into a bud yet. You broke through the shell. Congratulations. That's really tough to do. Now you got to grow roots, and that means you got to dig deeper into the darkness. And as you dig deeper into the darkness, you'll find your nutrition. You'll find your nutrients and your vitamins and your water from the soil. And then eventually, if you stick with it, you'll blossom. You'll sprout.
Stick with it. All of you creative livers out there. I mean, this is living the creative life, not just what we're creating. Everything is a chance for creation, whether it's a brand new relationship, whether it's a new thing you're creating with a friend, whatever that is. Give yourself a fighting chance and keep showing up to whatever you believe in. Because honestly, like Ryan said, if you continue nurturing it, eventually it will turn into a blossom.
Yeah, let's hope so, because it's a lot of work.
Growth is a lot of work. All right, honey, let's get
What's the alternative, right? All right, so as we get into our heart chakra meditation, I don't know where we're at time-wise. If we're already over 10 minutes, then those of you who are on Instagram have already lost us, and I apologize. But if you want to get into the meditation, it'll be on YouTube. So the meditation today, I think I'm just going to use that dragon analogy. So if you're the dragon or you're the princess, whatever it may be, let's shed those layers. So we're going to do 7 layers, 7 breaths, and each time I want you to exhale. You're going to exhale another layer, whatever that may be for you.
Allow that to start to crack open and shed. it might feel raw and vulnerable at first, but trust that vulnerability, because vulnerability is not weakness, but a deeper layer of strength, a deeper layer of compassion, and a deeper layer of the truth of who you truly are. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you for joining us with our vulnerability, and I hope that you can honor and feel the raw, beautiful, authentic part of yourself. If you like what we do, please come and join us on where are we? On all the things. Instagram.
All the things. YouTube.
Instagram.
Facebook.
Subscribe if you like us.
MySpace. Check us out on MySpace.
Is that even a thing?
I don't know. It was.
And we're going to be doing a lot of
Sign our yearbook.
Yay. Oh man. And we are going to be doing this deep vulnerable work. I think this work is what's getting ready for our workshop.
We're getting ready for this authenticity and communication workshop. So, we've experienced this a few times with workshops, where as we start to build up towards the workshop, we start to get into ceremony, as they say. That build-up process can be real tough. So
it's the build-up's more, I think, than the actual ceremony. But
for us, it usually is.
Yeah. Well, if you want to get raw with us, that's what we're doing. So if you want to come and hang out with us, we still have a few spaces available for Michigan. We'll see you again tomorrow for, what is it? Fearless Friday. Oh, geez. Fearless Friday. We'll see you.